Boys, the Regulation F ladder is finally here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some rental codes I have created for you guys to jump straight into the ladder with and hit Masterball tier. So the first thing we have here is a team centered around a Metagross plus Chen Pao Entei core here. So this is a team, actually, I'll give you a little bit of backstory on this. So I'm actually working on a video right now, basically going through how to, it's kind of basically a team building guide, right, for Regulation F. And I decided for that team, I would be building around around Metagross, right? And I do think this is one of the better cores to, build around it. So if you are more interested on, I guess, an in-depth look at this team and where this team might eventually end up, because this team isn't technically the final result for that video yet, but I do think it is very, very good for the ladder. I managed to climb, I think, to about 1400 or so on the best of 3 ladder on Showdown pretty damn quickly. So I cracked the top 500 at the time. And it's a very, very cool team, and I'm still definitely tweaking it a little bit. But this is the team that I thought was really, really good, right? So yeah, if you're interested, obviously stick around, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, look out for that team building video because it should hopefully be out in the next couple days. But basically, the team is built around Metagross. So we've got the AV Metagross here. Terra Water is just a very neutral typing that I like to have. This one's Bullet Punches paired with Chen Pao, does a lot of damage. It is very, very good into the Flutter Main. Chen Pao on this team, look, it's a very standard Chen Pao set here, but I'm really loving Stellar Terra. I think Stellar Terra and Chen Pao is awesome because there's a lot of times where, like, if you had that Terra, for example, the Terra Icicle Crash, you just one-shot the Flutter Main, but like you always Terra Ghost because you don't get faked out or Drain Punched. Same with like Sacred Sword and Sucker Punches. There's a lot of situations where you kind of wish you would Terra Dark, maybe Terra Fighting, and obviously it just wasn't as good. But because of that, I do really, really like Terra Stellar and Chen Pao. I think it's fantastic. It gives you a lot of offensive coverage. Then we have the Choice Banded Terra Normal Entei. I am not 100% sold on Terra Normal Entei in general, but I do think on the Choice Band sets in particular, it is very, very good. I was playing around with, AV Entei and Banded Metagross, and when I was like AV, I was still normal, didn't necessarily love it, but I do think normal paired up with Chen Pao is still very, very good, right? Choice Banded Sacrifice, Choice Banded Flare Blitzes also do a ridiculous amount of damage. Stomach Tantrum is just great coverage overall. On this team as well, we have the Rillaboom. The Rillaboom Ogre Pawn were some last minute changes, and again, I'll go into that kind of when I, do the video based on this team, but really Rillaboom plus Ogre Pawn kind of gives me that fire and the grass and water types that I felt the team lacked, and it also gives me more of a balanced mode, right, that allows it, the Raging Bolt to kind of do what it needs to do, right? Because that was one major thing I felt this team was kind of bad at, was like I felt like I needed a setup mon. And Raging Bolt was the guy I ended up going with because I do think Bolt is one of the best ones in the game right now. So lefties, Raging Bolt played out with Rillaboom is fantastic. Also Adamant Max Attack Rillaboom with Miracle Seed next to Chen Pao also does stupid amounts of damage. And then Ogre Pawn is just a fantastic mon, right? This mon is a really good redirection mon. Can stick around for a long time with Horn Leech plus Grassy Terrain. It's just really good, and I really like this team. As I said, if you're interested, I will go a lot more in depth in this team in the coming days. But to start with, this is one of my favorite teams so far in the early meta. Here we have another team that I did actually build pretty early on in the Regulation F, metagame, and this is a team I personally really, really loved. This team is kind of built around Choice Banded Iron Boulder. I did play a lot, of like, I was trying to like play like either setup Iron Boulder, which I did think was pretty good, but I really just love the Choice Banded Jolly Max Speed. The main reason for that is you can catch a lot of, Flutter Mains off guard, for example, and just outspeed and one-shot them. And I also think, actually jumping online, but I also think it is just really, really good on this team as well, because this is kind of more of a balanced team that ended up kind of leaning towards Primarina and Golden Go here. So we have the Carmine, we have the Nasty Plot. These two mon, their jobs are kind of to get up, get up a buff and then kind of just swoop through, right? Then we have the Incineroar, we have the Rillaboom. On the Rillaboom as well, this is something I'm always really torn about, right? You can run U-turn over high horsepower if you want. I personally just really like having the coverage. That's why I do opt for high horsepower. I'm definitely saying that I could definitely switch out, if you're more comfortable with U-turn, do that. If not, high horsepower obviously is really, really good, right? Incineroar, exact same thing here, right? It's, it's got that party shot, it's got the fake out. Between the double fake out paired up with like Golden Go and Primarina, I do think it puts you in a really good spot to set up and sweep. And also Iron Bolt is just really good at breaking for those mons. And then finally we have the Support Iron Bundle. I'm a huge fan of this set. This is very bulky, still speed booster, but you got Icy Wind, Freeze Dry, paired up with Encore. I think Encore is incredibly good right now, especially too if things do, try to protect or like, stall out, for example. Say they try to fake out your Primarina, and then you just like kind of encore them into, into like things like fake out, especially when you got things like Incineroar 2 where it's a dark type, so you can't pranks to taunt it. Pranks to encore it, but obviously, when you got something like Iron Bundle, it's just a really, really fast encore. And yeah, I think this mon too, it patches up a lot of weaknesses in the team. Not to mention, I think Ice is just an incredibly good offensive typing right now. So this next team here is what I would consider a pretty just standard balanced team right now. So this is what I'm calling Latios Balance. I'm sure if anyone, has had a look at any of the, the tours that have been going on recently, I'm sure you've seen a very, very similar team to this, right? So this is just the Mistball plus Draco Meteor set with Tailwind and Recover. You could definitely drop the Dragon Stab with something like Ice Beam if you'd like. I do like just having the Draco Meteor sometimes though, just for the most neutral damage I can get. Mistball is also really, really good into things like Flutter Mane as well, which I do think is really, really good. My Landorus set here, I did end up opting for Taunt because I do think having Taunt is really, really solid. And there wasn't really anywhere else on this team I could put it outside of Urshifu. But yeah, this is just it's not a very bulky Landorus either. It's pretty quick because I think a lot of the time, you know, having quick Lando paired up with things like Flutter Mane can definitely catch people off guard, especially things like, for example, Scarf, you know, Shifu and whatnot, right? Because if you are running those modest sets and you're not hitting that 150 bump, you know, obviously even if I Icy Wind, you know, an Urshifu, it's still eventually just gonna like, you know, take me out. Probably not the best example either using Urshifu because obviously it's probably just gonna KO my Flutter Mane anyway. But yeah, that's just an example of it, right? Then we have Incineroar. These two they go hand in hand. It's the exact same two from the team we had before. Just double fake out, grassy terrain, intimidate, you know, parting shot. Really, really good. Again, on this team in particular, you probably could definitely look at dropping high horsepower, especially because you have the Landorus for the ground coverage. But again, there are a lot of situations where you have this thing in front of a steel type or a fire type, and you can't really damage it. And because of that, I do just love having high horsepower. This is just my very standard specs Flutter Mane. This is just I believe I run it up to Timid 190. I'm sure I'll leave the pace down below anyway, so you can check that out there if you want to see the exact EVs on it. But yeah, this is just Terra Fairy specs, does a lot of damage, it's great. And then finally, it's just this is a slightly bulkier Urshifu. I am kind of liking, especially on these teams, an Urshifu without having, that is like a bit bulkier. This one's like nothing too crazy, but yeah, it's got a little bit of bulk to help it survive a few things. And it does have the Grass Terror as well, because I do think Amoonguss is a mon that, while it may not be getting as much play, especially on ladder, I do think in tournaments and especially on cart, I expect to see it, you know, with a bit more play. But yeah, it's just it's a relatively bulky Urshifu, which job is still there to deal a lot of damage. You pair it up, you know, with things like double fake out plus, you know, Flutter Mane with speed control, or even Latios with Tailwind, obviously, and this one can do a lot of damage. Now, it would not be a Scooteasy, you know, rental teams video if there was not a Chiu team on here. So this is a Chiu, Whimsicott, and Flutter Mane core, really. I did put Raging Bolt on it as well. Now, the original core of this team did actually have Sunny Day in the Encore slot. And as much as I did love having Sunny Day, I eventually just said, you know what? Sunny Day, as cool as it is just, it felt a little too offensive, and I do like having, you know, some defensive counterplay sometimes, and because of that I did like the idea of having Encore here to punish protects, and just anything else, right? Even if, you know, people tried to say fake out my, you know, my Chiu, for example, you go Terra Ghost, you know, you kill whatever's next to it, and then you just like Encore them in, as long as they're obviously not a you know, as long as it's not an Incineroar, because obviously you can't Encore the Incineroar, but things like Rillaboom and whatnot, if they ever do fake out, they do get into a bit of trouble with that. And then Raging Bolt, this one's just fantastic. Raging Bolt plus fake tears is ridiculous. I have caught a lot of people off guard with that combo of just going like fake tears into Thunderclap, because people forget like the fake tears is priority, the Thunderclap's priority, and then all of a sudden, you know, something like, you know, I do not die to this Thunderclap, all of a sudden, you know, they do just die to a Terra Electric, you know, Thunderclap when they're -2. And then finally, the really, really cool part of this team here is actually the Indeedee plus Iron Crown. Now, I did kind of, you know, forget to mention, hey, Whimsicott is my Tailwind setter. I felt like that was pretty obvious. Obviously, we got the Flutterfish, Raging Bolt, and Whimsicott. Obviously, you know, you need the Tailwind setter here, but you have the Iron Crown plus Indeedee. Now, this is just super, super cool because Iron Crown gives you a faster Steel type than Golden Go. It also gives you an expanding force use paired up with Indeedee. And this one's special attack is pretty high, especially when you run Modest plus Boost to special attack. This is just a really, really cool mode of the team. I'm a huge fan of it. Just basically getting, you know, Indeedee, one, does patch a lot of matchups. You know, having your own terrain plus Follow Me with Rocky Helmet is really good, especially when you pair it with Flutter Mane. I really love that combo, especially into things like Chen Pao. It makes, you know, hard, you know, 50-50 matchups turn into matchups heavily in your favor because they're forced to attack the Indeedee. And also too, if they are running things like priority, especially, you know, with like say Entei plus, you know, Entei plus Chen Pao. Obviously, you know, you can just go for things like, hey, I'm just gonna like lock into a Dazzling Gleam here. Sure, you can protect and attack the Indeedee. Indeedee will live one hit, and then you know, it'll, you know, get a lot of chip out essentially from the Flutter Mane, which is really, really cool. And also Terra Ground, you know, Iron Crown, I think is really cool, really good as well. Having that, you know, that Terra Blast ground there, especially on a team like this that doesn't have the ground coverage, I think is very, very good because you're kind of relying on Chiu to really deal with all the steel types. Because if you don't have your Chiu or your Chiu goes down, all of a sudden you don't really have any way to hit them. Also the fire types as well. Fire and, you know, fire and steel can be kind of an issue with this team. So having that ground coverage, I do think is very, very good. And let's be honest, you know, Helping Hand, Expanding Force is broken if you've got speed control. So yeah. So the final team we have here is my Gouging Fire setup team. This is a team I put a lot of effort into and I actually really, really enjoyed. Now, this is another team I did build relatively early on into the format, but I still think it holds up pretty well today. So this is essentially a Dragon Dance Gouging Fire set. One reason I really like Dragon Dance on this mon is because it's just fast enough to a point where as long as you get up the DD, you are basically outspeeding anything that isn't like Scarf or boosted. And even then you do, you know, speed tie, for example, things like Adamant, you do speed tie Adamant Landorus as well. And then you are a little bit slower than, you know, Jolly Shifu or even Adamant Shifu. But of course you got things like Terra Grass, plus you can go for a second DD to really, you know, kind of close the gap on that. But Heat Crush and Breaking Swipe are just fantastic. You know, Breaking Swipe with the DD just gives you like really good support. Even if this mon is not going to be the one that carries the game, spamming Breaking Swipes, especially into things like Chen Pao, is really good. Especially too, because a lot of the time when you have things like Chen Pao, you know, even like Rillabooms, Iron Hand sitting in front of this mon, it feels really weird to attack it because of Burning Bulwark, which again, it's signature move. If you don't know, by the way, if you make contact when they click Burning Bulwark, you'll burn them, which I think is super, super good. And this mod also pairs up incredibly well with King Gambit, because I do find one of the best ways to deal with this kind of set on the Gouging Fire is to knock off the Clear Amulet and then try to basically Parting Shot plus Intimidate cycle it, right? And because of that, you know, having King Gambit, it's just really good to Intimidate. Like, we all know, you know, how good this one could be. And with Terra Fairy, you can kind of just ignore things like Incineroar and kind of just aim down the ally there. And I'm also a huge fan of SD on this one as well. I think it's pretty damn good. And those two setup mons, I think, pair incredibly well with Amoonguss. I absolutely love Amoonguss plus Gouging Fire, because it puts you in this situation where you can go for, like, the Rage Powder plus, you know, DD. You can even just go, like, Burning Bulwark plus Spore. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do. Also, too, you know, if you get this mon set up, especially the Gouging Fire, you know, you take one KO, you know, they chip you for, like, 50-60%, and you just Polar Puff it back to full. Same with King Gambit as well. You get to those endgame situations where, you know, if they protect on your Sucker Punch to try to stall you out, you just keep Polar Puffing it, keep sporing stuff, and it just becomes incredibly hard to play. Specs Fluttermane, you guys know me at this point. I put Fluttermane on almost every team. I think the mon's really good. I do think its usage is slowly starting to drop in terms of like me putting it on every single team, but it is still without a doubt one of the best mons in the game. Then the final two mons here were really just, you know, simple add-ons for me. This is again my bulky Urshi that we were kind of talking about before. Again, it's nothing too crazy. The bulk's like not insane, but I think it's just a really good mon, especially when you pair it up with things like Amoonguss, right? If you have the redirection there, or you have, you know, a bit of speed control out of your Fluttermane, this mon can just, you know, put out a lot of damage next to these guys. And then of course, to finally round it out, we have Landorus, you know, Ethereum form here. I really think this mon is being slept on right now. Obviously, everyone's seeing Incineroar, you know, being really, really good in the metagame. But I personally do think Landorus Ethereum is actually, you know, still pretty damn good, especially with Terra Flying, Terra Blast, being, you know, probably the best flying type in the format still. And having things like U-turn as well, I think is fantastic when paired up with Amoonguss. But yes, anyway, guys, that is the five teams I have here for you guys to test out. Let me know down below what you think. And of course, let me know, you know, any other teams you want to see me use in the future. I'm about a month away from playing in the Brisbane Regional. So I keep saying Brisbane, the Melbourne Regional. And I'm going to be doing a lot of testing over the next month or so. And essentially every team I test that I think is good that I do not end up deciding to bring to Melbourne, I will hopefully, you know, be either one, at least giving you guys the pastes. If you want the paste to check the Discord, that's where I really kind of, you know, try to put all my pastes. And of course, though, I will try to make as many rentals as possible, because obviously I do like sharing teams with you guys. I like helping you guys, you know, climb up the ladder, especially too, because by the time I do play Melbourne, it will be, you know, prime for the next season. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's going to be for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.